Hello, everyone. Yes, ads are on. I appreciate all of you so much for reminding me to turn ads on for the live streams. Uh, the rebroadcast. Oh my god. The rebroadcast of Critical Role Campaign 4, Episode 10 has just occurred, and I wanted to jump on. I already released a video specifically about what desperate measures are, as this is like a new homebrew option that's really exciting that they've done for the campaign. This is, and I made a video about this separately, so if you just want a little small itty bitty video about this concept, that's on the YouTube channel right now. It's pretty fascinating. So, the desperate measures kind of mechanic or homebrew that oh my god, thank you so much for the $40 super chat. That's so generous right out of the gate, Andrew Lorenz. S17. And when I see S17, I think season 17. That's so kind. I appreciate you. Happy holidays and keep up the great work. That's amazing. Wow, that is right out of the gate, kids. Yeah, for those that don't know, I was streaming yesterday and I got like about $1,000 worth of super chats, and I cried because it's hard to get used to being to people being so generous. So it's pretty wild. So Critical Role rebroadcasts on Twitch in the mornings around 9 a.m. And then they release the VOD on YouTube, I believe, on Tuesdays. So let's we can kind of go over the episode. It was a very combat heavy episode. Just kind of the cliff notes, honestly, is it's hard to recap this episode. I'm going to be 100% about this. They did find out that, and again, spoilers, if you're in chat right now, big spoilers are happening. They found out that Sid is, in fact, one of the statues at the end of this episode. I think we all knew that was going to be true. They had a very large battle with the soldiers. One of these soldiers was a threat level 8, CR rating 8. And they're all level 4, so they're outclassed. What was pretty remarkable is the only one that was really effective in this entire game was Thimble again. So Laura Bailey was just killing it with sneak attacks and max damage and all kinds of stuff. So pretty much was the most effective member of the party. Everyone was doing their best, for sure, but mostly just tanking or barely surviving. Wikander got a sword right in his gullet and lost all his hit points. One of the funniest moments from this episode is the fact that Sam had forgotten to choose his feat when he leveled up and retroactively decided to take the tough feat, which is the only reason he survived this game, giving him like multiple hit points for every level he has. It was pretty nuts. Tayor is having the worst time ever. He just cannot hit anything. It's hilarious. I feel so bad for Travis Willingham. But Laura Bailey absolutely killing it. Laura just did a phenomenal job and got some lucky rolls as a swashbuckler rogue. But one of the things that really kind of stood out is we've already seen this thing called Desperate Measures. And I love this new mechanic for homebrew. It's very specific to this world of Ahriman because there is no resurrection magic. So we were introduced to the fact that when you're in death saves, you can, we already knew this from a previous episode, you're in death saves, you can, if you have not failed any, you can decide to give a member of your party heroic inspiration, or you can decide to stabilize yourself and no longer have to make death saves. Part of this now is if you are bloodied, and the blood condition in D&D is you have half the hit points than your max. Then you technically have the bloody condition. So this new mechanic that came up in the game is if you're bloodied, you can automatically fail death saves in advance. So you're not dead or dying, you're not at 0. That's when death saves typically have an effect in the game, right? This is you are banking on your success and hoping to God you don't hit 0. So there are multiple things that can happen. You can burn You can decide to fail a death save in advance by getting a +5 to an ability check or getting the dash or disengage action, which is great. You know, in a pinch, if you're getting hurt, you can like run away a lot easier. If you do 2, you can make one of your attack. If you burn 2 death saves, basically auto fails, you can decide to do max damage on one of your attacks, which is wild. And you can do a ton of damage this way, especially if you're a rogue and you're doing sneak attack damage. You can just blow someone up or fireball. And then if you decide to burn 3 death saves, which is crazy. If you decide to fail, and if you do this, you are not going to make it if you go to 0. You're dead. You can get another action. And that includes magic actions. So you could be a sorcerer and cast Fireball, and then get another action and cast Fireball again. Rules is written. So I really love this mechanic. I'm definitely going to test it out on my own table a little bit. But this is a world where there is no resurrection magic, really. There's reincarnation and a bunch of other things, but House Tachonis is a exception to the rule. But this is a very lethal world where there is no resurrections. There's no revivify. So you taking death and weaponizing how dangerous this world is in the game, mechanically, is remarkable. It gives you a lot of agency, and it gives you such a gambler's mentality of like, I can get max damage, but I can really screw up I can lose my character. This is very much based off of Blaze of Glory, I believe, from Daggerheart, where you have the option to kind of do something mechanically very similar to that as well. And so the whole episode was them basically, it was like a knife fight in a phone booth. They're moving down this hallway. They're dealing with this basilisk. Basilisk dies. They're dealing with these soldiers, and it's full 3 hours of just combat. There's not a lot of narrative other than the soldier's incredibly mean and wants to like make people suffer, and he's pretty upset. There were a lot of funny moments with Tyranny, as always, looking like Octus, and Thimble just came in really clutch. So there's not... Oh, thank you so much for the $3 super chat. The Desperate Measures feels like Daggerheart. Yep, absolutely. It is a very Daggerheart-y mechanic. It would be interesting if we watched Critical Role slowly move from D&D into Daggerheart organically. But that's just me. So that's the episode. Really cool mechanics. Really funny moments. I do have a couple of weird notes. Yeah, and they leveled up. Only 3 of them leveled up. Yeah. I do love Sam Riegel deciding to take the tough feat, and that's the only reason he survived. And then, like, was up and then back down again. Taking another 8 hit points. Wakander is just getting the living crap kicked out of him. That guy has got to stay back. He's got to stay in the back, man. He is just... Glass Cannon is not even the word for it. I do recommend Tough for sorcerers. Actually, I think it's a really good mechanic. You could have also done an ASI and gotten a nice hit point bump from that as well. I don't think it would have been as good as Tough, but it would have increased his AC, so that might have been the other way to go. Yeah, I think Tior still needs to level up, and yeah. I think Kattigan needs to still level up as well. If you want to help support the stream, Streamlabs are, the super chats are super helpful. You can see in chat right now, World Anvil is sponsoring this video. Be sure to click on that. That helps the algorithm. That helps World Anvil know that you're listening, and you get 51% off if you put in TODD. It's really fun if you're a storyteller. It's a really great way to map out your character's journeys and stuff like that. It's something you should check out. But it's a wild episode. But here's the thing. Here's the weirdness about this episode. And I don't know if anyone else in chat. I'm gonna ask chat. What did you think was weird about this episode structurally? I want to hear from all of you before I talk about this, because I don't want to think I'm just like a hypersensitive, overly aware human being, which I am. But I'm curious what you all think. I love these homebrews, and I'd like them to start publishing them. I feel like we are kind of evolving towards Daggerheart. It's a good, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was only combat, no narrative. Cold cut to is it Thursday yet is the weird thing. Not only that, it's a cold cut to the break. The intermission was a cold cut as well. Weird cuts and interruptions. Yes, that is the thing that weirded me out. So normally there's this organic moment where Brennan Mulligan is at the table and he says, "Hey, we're going to go to break." And everyone's part of it. But this is a random cut of Brennan being by himself without people around the table. So this is an edit made in post. And then the fact that we end the episode after they get to the statue of Sid, and again, we have this cut to Brennan. This feels like this episode was not intended to be this length. It was also the shortest episode I believe we've ever had of Campaign 4 at running around 3 hours. So this makes me wonder what happens next. Was it too dark? What happened next, potentially, to use at the end of 2025, and in the Christmas holiday, Hanukkah season? Was there something that was going to happen that was going to be lethal? Because we still have the woman from the Tachonis family that has the tattooed face, and they're theoretically running around here invisible. Did they then make an appearance and just flat out Thanos people? So it could be that, or that structurally, when they shot this day, it was like a 5-6 hour day, and it was just too much episode to air, potentially, as well. But this episode was cut short, and the intermission was super strange. So it's almost like the intermission was going to happen after 3 hours of combat, and not where we got it. So yeah, some kind of editing has happened, and I'm wondering if they just split this episode into two. And then another good example people are talking about in chat, there was no cooldown, because the real cooldown happens later in the next episode. So I think this is a session that was split completely in half and maybe went 6 hours. They're already so rough. If he threw the woman from the Tachonis family with the tattooed skull face at them, it could have been a TPK. I'd be a little surprised, but they're in a really, really rough state. And it may be that it is a TPK, and they go into the soldiers' table does go into the underworld, where the dead are, and somehow continue the story there. But something really weird is happening with this final episode. That's my notes. Maybe I'll make a separate video about how weird this is, but something really strange happened here. First episode might be a TPK. I mean, they already went up against a CR8 ranking person, so that's pretty wild to throw more stuff out at them. Yeah, it might not have been about the feel of the episode. It's wild speculation. It may have just ended up been about the length. So I think the cooldown doesn't exist. I mean, this would also be weird not to have the cooldown before transitioning to another table as well. Or maybe we're going to do the last hour of this episode and make it the front of a transition to another table in 2026. So that's why I suspect. Laura Bailey absolutely killing it. Just a murder hobo. I felt so bad for everyone else's roles. They were wildly bad. And Wikander just cannot not get killed, apparently. So, Yeah, the audio at the end of the episode sounded upbeat. So it may not be too dark. It may be that they just made an editing choice to make this episode a little shorter, and the last half of this episode, or an hour to the next episode, to have a nice transition. And by the way, everyone, happy holidays for those that celebrate. And thank you for those who were in chat last night as well. I appreciate all the super chats. That was, y'all made me cry on camera. That was very kind for this holiday season. So I appreciate all of you for supporting video content like this. So yeah, kind of a wild episode combat-wise. I love the new mechanic. I thought it was super cool. Not a lot of information narratively, because it was purely combat and nothing else. Kind of a cliffhanger. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the dogs do have greater restoration. Yeah, so it's interesting that this mechanic further cements how rare resurrection of any kind is in the world. I mean, they've flat out said it. It just doesn't happen. There is no resurrection. This could have been really rough handling anything. Anytime you deal with a basilisk or a ghoul or anyone that can have a paralyzing effect on you, it can be a TPK pretty rapidly. I've had this happen to my party a couple of times when I was running a game. I tend not to like to do paralytic effects, stun, stuff like that, because I don't like people to lose their turns. That's just me, though. I worry about my players. Rest in peace, Carl. But yeah, really fun. What an angry soldier. What did he say? That was pretty funny when he said, "I'm going to take something away that you love," and he attacks Wikander, and Thimble's like, "What are you talking about? You got that way wrong." It was an interesting conversation that we had last night about Thimble and Peter Pan. So we keep on talking about the nature of belief, and Thimble has a sword that is still magical because of the power of the belief of the gnomes' kids who used to play with it. This came up because we realized Thimble there's this interaction in Peter Pan with Tinkerbell, and one of the ways you resurrect Tinkerbell is, in the book, they actually ask you to clap hands if you believe in fairies, and this helps resurrect Tinkerbell from death. Which is a wild moment in a book because it's pretty much unheard of, I believe, until the novel of Peter Pan. What also comes up, though, is that when Wendy and Peter meet, I think Wendy wants a kiss and calls it, instead of calling it a kiss, oh yeah, she asks for a kiss, and then it gives him a thimble because he doesn't, she gets nervous in the book. And then gives Peter Pan a kiss and calls a kiss a thimble. And it's interesting that Laura Bailey's character is called Thimble. So there's something very Peter Pan about this world and about Thimble herself. It's very Peter Pan coded. Speculation could be that the Aussie Fang is kind of Peter Pan in this scenario, and Thimble is Tinkerbell. So, but yeah, that's a crazy theory that we kind of sussed out in the middle of the night yesterday. The middle of the day is pretty wild. Also, Wikander and Thimble flirty vibes. Anyone? There's a definitely they don't like each other. I don't know if it's flirty yet. Thimble is just you know what? Rogues tend not to do a lot of damage. Thimble is doing a ton of damage. That's something that's definitely happening right now. So I'm gonna drop a super chat goal just to test the waters. It's gotta be pretty low. I've been making videos and streaming a ton. So those are my theories about the episode. Clearly it was cut. We have those cutaways to Brennan Mulligan for the intermission and to the end. So really feels like this was a full session that was cut in half, or part of this session has been moved over to a transitional phase where they move over to one of the other tables. I suspect that's what's going on right now. So we'll find out next year. Also, I'm gonna be so sad not to see all of you. This is like our last Critical Role stream until the end of the year, and that's a bummer. I will miss everybody in chat. Super fun. Is there anything people want to discuss? Any theories I've missed? I can, for those who are just now joining, I can go over again the new mechanic. I think it's really fun. I think it's terrifying, and it's very blood huntery as well. Does anyone know the symbolism of falcons and birds? I don't think falcons do feature in Peter Pan, no. Yeah, Thimble having the biggest body count amongst the soldiers is really wild. Thank you so much for the gift. I can't read it. Thalican sent Todd Kenrick a gift membership. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been wild. I guess for 2025, it's just been a really impressive year for Critical Role. I think this is one of my favorite campaigns. I think it's super interesting. I'm looking forward to us. I suspect going to a different table at the start of the year. Thank you so much for the super chat. Buck Potter, hope this helps. Happy holidays to you and Megan. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Everything helps, man. Likes, subscribes, all of that stuff. Hitting the bell notification. That's one of the biggest ones, because you'll be surprised how few subscribers actually get notified when you go live or when you publish a video. It's completely wild. So, how do you think the other two tables will feel when the compound... Oh, yeah, I'm interested if we're going to go to the Seekers or the Schemers. And I'm curious how things have affected stuff. So I think we're going to have like an hour or two with the Soldiers table next year. And then I think we're going to move on to... another table. Maybe the Schemers. And they're just getting started. Hey man, we're only 10 episodes in. Like, that's wild, right? A lot has happened. A lot has gone down. Yeah, who are the other statues? Why are they loading up statues? It's pretty wild. Yeah, they were setting up the Schemers quite a bit, so that is entirely possible. Thank you so much, James. I1YFG for the $2 super chat. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much, man. That's very kind. Making sure I like all this stuff. Everyone's so kind in the holidays. I love it. I think that's one of the things I do. Holidays are a little rough because it's so dark in Seattle, by the way. You kind of start losing your mind. It's the great dark. It's not as bad as Alaska, but it gets dark here. And you don't get a lot of daylight. On top of that, we have compounded rainstorms and everything else. So it's just... I've got those seasonal lights all over the house. I think I'm going to not maybe retire. Like, I'll retire in a sunny location. I get it now. You know, I get why older people move to Florida and California. I see it. People need that daylight. Yeah, the statues are a very interesting plot hook. What are they up to? I assumed there was going to be a whole bunch of undead down here, but the fact that they're turning people into statues is very specific. Seattle Christmas Vampires. Yeah, it's the sequel to 30 Days a Night. They move on to Seattle. Honestly, we have such heavy cloud cover, I don't think vampires would be affected by sunlight. Yeah, Eugene, Oregon maybe gets dark. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I get a cough sometimes. Yeah, that was a wild line by that soldier. Like, I'm going to kill you so I can, like, kill you again in the underworld. That was bizarre. And so angry. We have, like, record rain in Seattle right now. We're in the middle of an atmospheric river, so we got flooding everywhere. It's wild. Yeah, I don't know. So you talk, or you think they're packing them up for convenient shipping? I don't know that turning people into stone is convenient shipping. I think it's adding weight um, to what you are attempting to do, and I think it makes the person you're moving more breakable. Unless they're kind of trying to do this Han Solo type thing of being turned to stone like carbonite, but it's pretty strange. House Tachonis needs to go to therapy, 100%. I think it's too late. I think Octus needs to go to therapy. I mean, he's undead after all, so that's a concern. This reading super chat. So yeah, it's a weird episode to do a recap of because it was so short and really kind of technically enough. So little happens. That's the weird thing about combat. Is combat just kind of moves at snail's pace sometimes. High fantasy carbonite for sure. And what kind of stone do you turn into? Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Fuzzy Flying Bunny. We will miss your lives for the next couple of weeks. Nice. Oh, it was mentioned that they turned to granite. Oh, yeah, that's a very breakable stone. Are they going to take them for granite? I do always like a so beholders will do that. Beholders will turn people to stone and then like lay their trophies around them in their layers. That's a very beholder thing to do. Yeah, I noticed Whitney. Yeah, Whitney and Robbie didn't level up. Maybe they didn't feel like it was a good moment yet. And I think for Robbie, it was mentioned that there's something tied into Wolfric as well. So I think it's going to be a Robbie and Wolfric moment for why Wolfric actually ends up leveling up. And I think for Whitney, it may be tied to her demon lineage and the fact that she's a warlock. Will come into play for her to level up. So maybe her patron makes an appearance, and that's something that we explore. Narratively, I think those two characters have non-combat reasons to level up. Yeah, beholders are so lethal in D&D. It's such a dangerous time. Oh, Whitney did level up and take the lucky feat. They did. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I'm sad that no one took the Fey touched feat. That would be screwed up. If those statues are on the way to the museum, that's wild. Oh, I think the failed deaths. Oh, that's a good point about the failed death saves. How long do they last in this new mechanic? I think it's per encounter. I think it's encounter based or after a short rest. I think it's like maybe encounter based or a short rest. I think if you get out of the bloodied condition, maybe that's the requirement. You need to get to full hit points or past being at half, and then you are knocked out of it, possibly. But then you can cut cheese things where you're just like at half, and then you bring it back up again. So I think it's probably per encounter or short or long rest. Yeah, there's a weird moment where they want to change the wings of a gallery, and that conversation was a bit strange. Yeah, Fey Touched is always great for Warlocks. So is Shadow Touched as well. You're getting it helps you get additional spell slots, so it really helps. Yeah, Travis and Robbie just not landing hits, man. Wild, bad rolling, pretty rough. I do like the new level up style myself. Narrative, it doesn't force your hand for ASI. I think so they did a previous video on Critical Role where they talk about the new leveling up narrative system. And he just wanted to get a sense of what people wanted to do for feats or doing an ASI, and what spells they get, because he wants to build that into the narrative to get them there. The narrative is not dictating their feats and spells and stuff like that. They've determined, okay, this is how I want to level up. How do we make the narrative fit that in a cohesive way? Is kind of the concept. So, we got 141 people in chat. We'll keep it going. We'll at least do a chill hour long before the holidays stream. Again, thank you for everyone who's showing up today. I think we got a lot of new people in here right now too. That's wild. We're definitely growing in audience. So 141 is nothing to sneeze at. But I really like that new mechanic. I'm waiting for one of these characters to push it too far and die, though. In a world without resurrection magic, deciding to fail on death saves is pretty wild. But it's also wild that you can decide to, if you're in your death saves and have not failed any, to stabilize yourself as well. It kind of shows you how lethal this world is. I think this was the core mechanic and rule of the world that Brennan may have been talking about this whole time. What's your theory? What's your take on the theory that Taliesin are sorcerers of the Order of Law, so the house is filled with classical alignments? I don't know. That's completely possible. Sharpshooter is sharpshooter is okay. It's not an amazing feat, and they had to really nerf it because it was way OP beforehand. Yeah, I don't know what that paper is with the arcane sigils. That's gonna come into play later. Yeah, we know a lot about House Tachonis and Halavar. Yeah, we don't know a lot about the other two houses yet. Oh, it's definitely more a morally gray Game of Thrones vibe for this show for Ahriman. Todd, could we get a Critical Role 4 so far stream in the next couple of weeks and or M9 recap stream? Yeah. Can I do that? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And my 9 recap stream for sure. That would be fun. Yeah. Good to go over everything. I'll also do a pre-show. When the show comes back, right before we start. So yeah, we'll break everything back down again, what we know, what we don't. That'll be a fun kind of journey to like list all the different homebrew rules and strange things that we do in this game. Dude, Travis, man, just rolling terrible. What horrible rolls. But being a tank, you know, he's being a tank. He's doing his job. Yeah, apologize. We don't allow links in chat just for safety reasons. So, no big deal. I do have a longer video specifically about the new Desperate Measures system that is out there. That's a video that's on the channel right now. And if you're interested in my 9 stuff, I got a bunch of interviews with the cast. All of those are up, and reaction videos to Caleb and really fun things like this. Yeah, Brennan's really busy, man. I mean, Brennan's always busy. I think he's talked about he runs D&D, regardless of being paid, constantly. He loves being a dungeon master so much. So, you know, the fact that he's getting paid is a nice turn. Todd, what about doing a mini campaign or one shot for paid players for a little income? Yes, I've thought about actually running a campaign for paid players. I wouldn't live stream it, but I'd want to really make sure that the group were actually friends with each other. So I've thought about doing professional DMing again. But yeah, if I was being paid for a group of friends, I would totally consider it. It just depends on the money and the time, because I sink a lot of time into my dungeon mastering. It's pretty wild. So I get pretty obsessive about any campaign that I'm running, and I'd really want to really like that group. Something to consider. Yeah, I love dungeon mastering. It does cook your brain. Cooks your brain right down. Still checking out chat. We're going to stream till about an hour, I think. We're at 40 minutes right now. Yeah, it feels like Wick is now at a disadvantage for choosing the tough feat instead of the ASI. Yeah, I mean, it was clutch in the fact that it saved his life, but like, you know, I would have gone for the ASI on the con and the dex. That would have been increased armor class, and that would have been a bump for hit points at the same time. And even wilder, if that attack was, I don't remember what the roll was, but if that attack was like one away from missing him, you know, the extra dexterity would have pumped up his AC. But right now, Sam as a sorcerer is just getting the crap knocked out of him. Oh, then thank you, John. That's very kind. Yeah, it's something I have considered. Professionally dungeon mastering for sure. I would have to like interview the group and decide yes or no. I had a great group at D&D in the castle, and I would dungeon master for those folks professionally. They got along really well. They were really funny. What an amazing game at D&D in the castle. It ended so well, and it was such a wonderful experience with that group. What a great group of guys. I should reach out to them and see how they've been, actually. Just checking something right now. Sam has a 12 AC? That's terrible, dude. That's so bad. I forgot. Someone's got... We need an intervention with Sam about Wikander. Wikander's going to die. I do like the tough feat. I love playing tanks. I've been thinking about it again. I'm like, I think if I played in a long-term game again, I would play a tank. I love playing an armor or artificer so much. I don't know why. I just love being a tank. I love being a wild magic sorcerer for sure, but there's something about tanking that is so gratifying. It's hard to put my finger on it. Another good tank is arguably the best tank is the Path of the World Tree Barbarian, because they're constantly dishing out temp HP to themselves and also people around them. They're also pulling people left and right. But the Armor Artificer, their ability to use their gauntlets to impose disadvantage on a target if they fight anyone other than them is really nasty, real nasty bit of business as well. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for the super chats. We have a 3 out of 10 goal, so we're doing pretty good right there. And thank you for everyone for hopping into the stream right now. Yeah, we're just kind of discussing the episode of Critical Role and the new mechanics that were showing up, and why Wikander needs to be healthier, get better AC, and Travis may need to burn his dice. I don't know what's happening there. Travis is doing rough on the dice. Yeah, Goliath World Tree Barbarian is nasty business, for sure. I don't know if Wikander's going to live. I mean, it's so rough right now. Oh, yeah, Path of the World Tree Azamar are really nasty because you can fly, grab people with your roots, and then apply falling damage to that person as well. Mechanically, for me, I wouldn't play an Azamar, but because they're just not my thing. But being a type of flying creature that can grab you with the World Tree and then drop you and get a little bit of falling damage, it's pretty nasty. Yeah, I am going to start doing... So I do have a lot of plans for next year. I'm going to do more live streams. I'm going to start doing a builds character show. And I'm going to start doing a remote interview show as well every week. And I'm going to try to stick to that. I don't know what the days are yet, but that way we can keep on growing audience and community here. Yeah, I don't know what happens to Tyranny if Wikander dies. I mean, the contract is gone. Does you know, will she be sent back to the pit? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. Again, thank you so much. I can't believe we have 153 people in chat right now. That's wild. I really appreciate everybody here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. YouTube is really, and I know you hear YouTube say this all the time, hit the bell notification. There's a fraction of people who see my videos who subscribe to it. I think you know this too. I subscribe to a bunch of videos and I never, ever see those channels sometimes. Concerning dice, is it just me or has there been an overall flood of... There are a lot of nat 20s. I will say that. Yeah, it feels like we've gotten a lot of nat 20s, but we've also had a lot of really shitty rolls. I mean, this episode, Travis re-rolled a 1 and then got a 3. It was sad. Like, he couldn't get out of it. It was pretty wild. Just checking chat. I got an itchy nose today. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, we've only seen about 3 weapons with different properties. If you want to see more of Todd, make sure the bell is set to all. Yeah, 100%. I have thought about streaming a couple of video games as well, like Dispatch. Could do Borderlands. I don't know. And Demio, Balmarked, which is D&D. I think that would be fun. I'm not quite sure what the audience will be for that. Because I think most of my audience at this point is critters and Daggerheart enthusiasts, and obviously a lot of folks who like D&D as well. This was a rough episode for Teor. That's wild. Can you imagine if Wikander died but 2 characters were gone? That'd be wild. Yeah, he rolled with advantage and got a 1 and a 2. It's burn your dice, dude. I'm sure people will send you new dice. And I know Laura has lots of dice to borrow. So, I don't know about live streaming Baldur's Gate 3, how well that would do at this point. Well, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Mark Stewart. Really appreciate you. Love Thimble's fight and domination of an engagement, especially under desperation and level up mechanics. Laura Bailey is killing it. Laura Bailey is a professional D&D player. She knows her characters backwards and forwards. She's so good at combat. She's just great. She's just really great. And everyone is really good at what they're doing. But it is funny how effective Laura Bailey characters always are. There are, I know, there are a lot of ums in this episode. I clocked that as well. I am looking forward to the Warlock video game. I'm very excited for it. I think it looks really cool. I'd also argue another Warlock video game that isn't official D&D is the new Control game that's coming out. That is 100% a Hexblade in that game as well, when you think about the service weapon. So I'm mostly excited for Control's new video game, but I'm excited for a Warlock video game. Warlocks have come so far. I've watched it go up in the ranks for popularity over the last 8 years. I don't know if we ever released the official stats on that, but it climbed the ranks pretty heavily, which is wild because the top classes in D&D have pretty much always been the same until the 5th edition inclusion of the Warlock, and Critical Role, frankly, really popular made the Warlock popular, and the Hexblade Warlock at the time was kind of busted. Hexblade Warlocks were a good 2-level depth for Paladins, so you could get double smites, and that's a mess, and that's why Warlocks also kind of climbed up the ranks mechanically. So, but I love Warlocks. I think they're really fun. They have built-in plots, so I think they're great. We got 1 minute left in the super chat goal. Did we make it? I can't tell. We got 4 out of 10. That's not bad. 4 out of 10 is great. And I appreciate everybody's support. I really do. So I think we're going to wind it down. Man, I got to start doing larger streams when we get an audience of 143 or 150 people. It was a pretty short episode to talk about. Is there anything you want me to talk about or have any questions before we start wrapping up the episode? Do you think Laura might blend into Vengeance Paladin at some point? I think that's a possibility for sure. Yeah. But I think she's going to go straight rogue, I suspect. You know, Vengeance Paladin would make sense, but I don't think so. Thimble and Tyranny basically took on that encounter alone. Yeah, I know. Had almost zero hope from Robbie and Travis. They were trying, man. And a couple of clutch moments, I guess. Yeah, it was pretty much the Tyranny and Laura, the Tyranny and Thimble show, for sure. Yeah, but Robbie was healing his dog. Man, people were just, the healers were healing themselves. But yeah, the Warwick, the roar definitely helped. Yeah, Travis did his part as a tank for sure. Missing those hits, man. 11 seconds left. No. So we're gonna wrap up in about 8 minutes. I just want to say thank you everyone for all the super chats last night. It was a wild time. It broke me, it made me cry. I want to make sure everyone has a really happy holiday season. Thank you for everyone for showing up and supporting the channel. I've been covering Critical Role for, and really since almost the beginning, and it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad we get to do this once or twice every week. So I will definitely miss everybody next week for the holidays. Yeah, it might be a long rest for the death mechanics for it to really be dangerous. I agree. Yeah, Taylor's roar was super clutch, as was Wolfric. I love the moment when Tyranny was still disguised and the NPC was like, I know you aren't him. Yeah, that was pretty funny. They're not great at these deception checks. That look that Travis gave Robbie when he used Cure Wounds on Wolfric instead of Taylor. Dude, that hurt my feelings. I mean, he loves his dog. He's very much playing kind of like that Hunter character in some ways, I guess, from John Wick 4. Definitely has vibes like that. Like, his dog matters more than anyone in the party, and he always will. And that's legit, you know? We know as a Beastmaster you can just resummon your familiar, but narratively they're not going to do something like that. I love that they give familiars and animal companions more weight than that. You're doing a great job with your stream. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's pretty bare bones because it's just me talking at people, but I appreciate you. I'll try to think of more fun things to do. I'm a little tired today because I've been making a lot of videos and making a lot of plans. Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. I wish I could gift you all subs and stuff. Yeah, I love this time of year because I feel like mostly everyone's a little brighter, a little bit happier, or a little bit kinder to each other. They tend to be. At least that's how I always kind of view it. Yeah, I don't know. He's definitely playing a Beastmaster Ranger, but I don't quite know if they've kind of reskinned it a different way or there's a different narrative hook having to do with Wolfric. Yeah. I do like Beastmaster Rangers. I think they're fun. I want to really kind of tap Jeremy Crawford to really get into this new homebrew mechanic. All right, we got about 5 minutes left in the stream, I think. I'm turning into a pumpkin. Do you think he'd multi-class at some point? I don't know. I wouldn't multi-class as a ranger necessarily. Yeah, that resurrection has all been essentially completely ditched. So the people will die in this game. We've got more of a gambling mechanic for when people are, if they want to burn death saves, and they've got more things they can do when they're in death saves and haven't failed. So death is super important in this game, for sure. Do you think Chris and Jeremy had a role in the new mechanics? 100% I do, yeah. Feels very Jeremy and Chris. It's next time I get to interview those folks, I'll ask them all about it. See what they're allowed to tell me. All right, we got about 3 minutes left. Ooh, I'm getting hungry too. Just reading chat right now. I need to put chat into my Elgato. Yeah. There's gotta be a way to do that. My Elgato monitor. That way I can maintain eye contact like a rational being. Yeah, I think that the mechanic is really fun. I think I'll test it in my game. It's busted if you have Revivify, though. So, if you have Revivify or easy access to Resurrection, having these kind of death-saving mechanics might be OP and get overly used. So that's my only word of caution for this new homebrew. system. Yeah, I will definitely hunt down a new Brennan Lee Mulligan interview in all of his abundance time to press him on some of that stuff. Well, I'm going to use this time to say goodbye. Happy holidays to all of you. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Leave comments, like and subscribe, all that stuff. Take care of each other. And I really appreciate everyone showing up every day for the pre-show, for the after show, for the random streams I've been doing, for the people who have been watching the video interviews and everything like that. You all saved 2025 for me. This was a rough year, as you know, and the year before that was rough. My dad had stage 4 cancer. He's cured now. He's in remission. But it was one rough year after another, and then getting laid off this year was really rough too. Definitely a blow to the old ego too. When you think about it, you always want to be of service. And man, I've been trying to get a job at D&D for like 8 years, and then you get the job, and then you lose the job in a year. Is wild, especially after doing it at D&D Beyond and being a contractor for so long. It's a wild time, but like I said, 2025's ended on a happier note, and a lot of you folks are part of that, so I appreciate you. So have a Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, New Year's. Drink responsibly, or don't drink at all is also a great option. Just drink water. But all right, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.